Hello everyone. In this video I'm going to show you how to use Photoshop to create a menu for the hot beverages project. This is the project that I'm going to make. Before I created my menu, I looked at lots of examples on the internet to see how other people did it, how the text was placed, how the images were placed, so that I could get some ideas for my project. So that is a good place to start. So here we are in Photoshop, and what I'm going to do is create a new file. So File, New, and I'm going to choose Print, Tabloid, but my orientation is going to be horizontal instead of vertical. Yours might be different. And I'm going to change this to 150 just to make it a smaller file size so it doesn't burden the computer. And I'll call this menu with my name and number 2. And you could make your menu like 8.5 by 11. So I just want mine, I know it has 3 sections, so it needs to be a little longer. So your size might be different. So now create. Now I'll place my image. So File, Place Embedded, and here's my photo. And I'll click the check mark. I could change the size if I want to, but this works out fine. And it automatically went right to the center. Now I'm going to create a new layer with clicking the plus sign down here and use the marquee tool to drag a selection at the top, and I'm going to go to Edit, Fill, and choose a color. And now that I have the color picker up, I can go around and click on different colors. This is one way to choose a color, it's not the only way. From my image, and then when I get the color I want, click OK, and it will fill it. I'm going to take this layer and drag it underneath the photo, and then Control or Command D to deselect that. Now the next thing that I'm going to do is add some text, and I'd like to show you in Google Classroom. Here under Option 1, Create a Menu, I have 2 resources for you. One is vector icons and stickers, and the other one is DeFont. So I'm going to click DeFont and get this website right here. And in my project, I use something called Dingbats, and there are all sorts of choices here. I chose this one called Nature, and this is the font. Tanistal Doodle Leaves, and then I downloaded that. And then the other font that I chose, I like handwritten, and I chose something called Fish and Chips. And I'm not sure where Fish and Chips is right now, but I'll just go ahead and click this one called Shorelines. It's kind of pretty. So I'll click Download, and then it's going to my Downloads folder, so I'll click Save. And then I'll go ahead and show that in my Downloads folder, and you'll notice that it has it's a zipped file. It has a zipper on it. So I'll just right click on that and extract all, and extract. So now I have to click this file and click Install. So this is called Shorelines. So once my computer installs that, I can close all of these things and go back to Photoshop, click the text tool, and then it will show up in my list of fonts. But the fonts that I'm actually using for this is called Fish and Chips. So I'm going to click right here, and I'm going to write Cup of Joy. And that is underneath my photo, so let me click and drag that up. There we go. And you'll notice that the font is pretty thin. So what I'm going to do is go down to FX and go to Stroke and add a 3-point stroke to it and click OK, which makes it a lot thicker. And you'll also, something that I want to show you is how to make that an arc. So right here with the text tool selected, you'll see this T with a swoopy line under it. Click that and you'll get all of these warp options. So go ahead and check them out, see what they do. I chose this one called Arc, and you can see what happens when you put it on Arc. The default is 50%, and I think that's perfect, so I'm going to leave it there and click OK. And my image, it's a little bit too tall, so I'm going to move this down a bit and then get the marquee tool and grab a little snip of this. So I'll copy that, Control C, and then Control V to paste it. And then I'll just use my arrow keys and scoot that up to make just a little patch. And you might not have to do this for your project. Everybody's project will be a little bit different. Okay, that looks pretty good. Now I'm going to work on the beverage choices over here. So text tool, and I'll write Earl Grey, and 3 dots, dot, 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 number or $3. So mine are going to be $3, but the size, I think I made it 80. Let me see. Oh no, let's try 60. There you go, that's better. And again, it's too thin, so I am going to go to FX and add a stroke to it, and I'll make this stroke 2. Yeah, that looks good. And click OK. So now that I have 1, I'm going to get the Move tool, hold down Alt or Option on the keyboard, and then click and drag a copy. And if you hold down Shift at the same time, it will make it even. So click another one and click another one. Now I'll go through. This one will be oolong, and this one will be chamomile, and this one will be Darjeeling. Alright, so now over here in the Layers panel, I'm going to click Darjeeling, hold down Shift, and click Earl Grey so that all 4 of my T's are selected. Now, with the Move tool, I'm going to try centering them all to or justifying them, aligning them on the right, and the center, and the left. And I think I'm going to go for this one. And I'll just center that a bit. The other thing that I want to do is make sure that the space between them is even. So these 3 little dots here, if you click that, you can find the distribute functions. So I'm going to click this middle one, which will distribute the center. So when I click that, watch what happens. It moved them down so that the space between them is even, which is really cool, a great time saver. Now I'm going to hold down Alt on the keyboard and click and drag these across to the other side, and then I'll just go through and make these all of my iced teas. So this side is hot teas, this side is iced teas. The next thing that I want to show you is how to add some of these little graphics, these little leaves and flower sprigs. So I am going to get my text tool, and I'll click down here, and I do believe this one is a D, so I will highlight that, and then, okay, so it's a Z. There we go. So Z, and then I'll check mark that, and then rotate this and place it where I want it. And then hold down Alt on the keyboard, make a copy for this side. And that's not the only way to make little graphic icons, but it's one way that works is to use the fonts. And so the only thing that's missing that I need to do is put the hot tea with this little graphic, put the tea shop down here at the corner, and that is the menu basically finished. And of course, everyone's will be different according to whatever your own design is, and I can't wait to see what you do. Have fun, everyone.